All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are tackling a massive, and I mean highly speculative question that's got the entire crypto community talking. We're going to unpack the bull case for one of the market's biggest players. So let's just get right to it. The big question is this: can the price of Cardano realistically, and I mean realistically, 1000x by 2030? Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds nuts, right? But there's actually a specific bull case, a whole line of reasoning behind that number. So let's dig in and see what it's all about. Okay, so where does this idea even come from? A lot of it stems from this quote by Cardano's founder, Charles Hoskinson. The basic argument is, look, how much further can Bitcoin really go? Maybe it hits $1 million a coin. That's a 10x from here, which is amazing, don't get me wrong, but for something smaller like ADA, the ceiling is just way, way higher. We're talking 100x, maybe even 1000x potential. It's all about the room to grow. So this isn't just some number pulled out of thin air. The analysis we're looking at says this whole idea is built on three specific things. Three big catalysts that could, if everything lines up, drive some absolutely massive growth. Now, what's kind of interesting is how our source lays these out. They actually present them in reverse order of importance, from number 3 up to number 1. It's like they're building the argument from the ground up, starting with the most likely and ending with the most explosive. So let's follow their lead and do the same. All right, catalyst number 3, the Cardano ETF. You've seen the splash the Bitcoin ETFs made, right? Well, the idea here is exactly the same. It would create this regulated, super easy-to-use on-ramp for the big money, we're talking institutional funds, to pour into ADA without all the usual crypto headaches. And get this isn't just a maybe someday kind of thing. Bloomberg analysts, who are pretty respected in this space, have put the odds of a spot Cardano ETF getting approved at a whopping 90%, and by 2025. If that happens, it just blows the doors open for those bigger, more cautious investors who've been sitting on the sidelines. Okay, moving on to catalyst number 2, stablecoin expansion. Think of stablecoins as the grease that makes the wheels of the crypto economy turn. They're the digital dollars, the lifeblood of DeFi, that let people trade and transact super efficiently. And this is where Cardano has, well, a secret weapon, according to its founder. It has a massive treasury. And the whole point is that they can use that treasury, that war chest, to inject money, build up trading volume, and really juice the total value locked, or TVL, in the Cardano ecosystem. And to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, that treasury holds 1.7 billion ADA. That's a huge pile of cash, hundreds of millions of dollars just sitting there ready to be deployed to fire up growth and pull in users and capital. It's a massive advantage. But look, an ETF and a buzzing stablecoin market are great. They're huge. But they alone are not going to get us to 1000x return. No way. For that, we have to look at the number 1 catalyst. This is the big one, the keystone argument, the thing that this entire bull case really hinges on. To really get this, you got to look at the rest of the crypto world. It's like a race to own a specific niche, right? You've got Ethereum, which is absolutely dominating the stablecoin game. It's the king. Then you have Solana, which is moving at lightning speed to become the go-to platform for tokenizing real-world assets, RWAs. So what's left? Where does Cardano fit in? Well, here's the core of the argument. Cardano's big play is Bitcoin. Specifically, its unique ability to work with Bitcoin. The idea is for Cardano to become the yield layer for the entire Bitcoin network. Think about it. All that Bitcoin, trillions of dollars, just sitting there. This plan would unlock that dormant value and put it to work in the world of DeFi, doing things like lending and borrowing. Okay, so let's put it all together. What if all three of these catalysts hit just right? What does that actually do to the price of an ADA token? This is where we get into the math. And I gotta warn you, these are some seriously bold calculations. The whole thing starts with one absolutely massive assumption. And it's a big one. It assumes that by 2030, Bitcoin basically becomes digital gold. That its total market cap doesn't just grow, it explodes to surpass the value of all the physical gold in the world, reaching a staggering $22 trillion. So here's the simple but powerful math. If Cardano succeeds in becoming that DeFi layer for Bitcoin, and it manages to capture that entire $22 trillion market, what happens? Well, you just take that massive number and divide it by Cardano's current market cap, which is sitting around $25 billion. And the number you get is pretty mind-blowing. It's an 893x potential increase. The analysis then just kind of rounds that up to a nice, clean 900x, figuring that the other two catalysts, the ETF and the stablecoins, will provide that extra little push to get it there. So let's bring that back down to earth for a second. What does a 900x gain actually mean for you? It means that one single ADA coin, which was worth about 69 cents when this was written, could, in this scenario, be worth $627. And here's the headline number, the one that really makes you stop and think. If you bought 1,000 ADA today for around $700, that investment could theoretically turn into over $627,000. It's a staggering thought. Okay, deep breaths. Before you run off to an exchange, it is so important to understand that the person who put this all together pumps the brakes pretty hard. They give a huge dose of reality right at the end. In fact, the analyst says it themselves, and I quote, "I don't personally believe Cardano can 1000x in that time frame." But then they add the really important part, but pretty damn close. See, for them, the point isn't whether it hits 1000x on the nose. It's that the potential to get close to that number is what makes this whole idea so interesting to think about. So what's the big takeaway here? What we just walked through is the ultra bull case. It's a perfect storm scenario. It's based on Cardano unlocking all of Bitcoin's value, which itself is based on Bitcoin surpassing gold's market cap. And it relies on all three of these catalysts firing off perfectly. You have to remember, this is a speculative analysis, a thought experiment. It is definitely not financial advice. And that really leaves us with the final question, doesn't it? Is this vision for Cardano a financial revolution that's actually in the making? Or is it just one of the most optimistic, speculative long shots you could possibly take on a perfect, flawless future? I guess you could say that's the 1000x question.